Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review, and welcome to a special edition of Asian and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. And I'm here today to talk to you about Without a Trace Season 4 episode Honor Bound. This is actually my first time talking about Without a Trace. I absolutely love this show that was on CBS about a group of FBI agents that would find missing people. That was their thing. Every episode for 7 seasons, over 20 episodes, somebody will go missing at the beginning of the episode and they have to search for that person. Basically, they go from one clue to another. It's a guessing game, talking to the witnesses until eventually they're able to find that person. Sometimes some of the people will be alive when they find them. Sometimes they will be dead. And this was a very phenomenal crime show on CBS. However, I did not watch this when it was in production. Around the time either I was done with college or still was in college, probably done with college, I believe. I remember being home and just being up at night, and on Saturdays and Sundays, very late, very late, I would sit in the living room and I will watch this show. It'll be like 11 o'clock at night, probably 12 in the morning. That's when it would come on, and this show would be on for, maybe they'll do like one episode a night. And also, they would also show Cold Case, another amazing CBS show. And so, like, I would do that on Saturdays and Sundays. And then on the syndicated channel, they would show multiple episodes during the afternoon. Then, sadly, all of a sudden, it just came to an halt. They stopped showing it. And I'm like, oh, man. Because this was a very fascinating crime show in the way they told the story. It's very unique. Like I told you before, something will happen in the beginning. You will see that person, then all of a sudden they will vanish. And so, the Cold Case was even more of an amazing show. Now, this show is on DVD. Now, this show will be on Roku channel until it goes away. It's about to expire soon. This is what pisses me off about the Roku TV channel app. Both this show and Cold Case constantly keep disappearing, and they keep bringing it back because fans want this show back. I so badly want to talk about this show and talk about Cold Case, but I never have time. Both shows lasted for around 7 or so seasons, and they are over 20 episodes. That is a lot to binge. But that's how the 90s and 2000s were and stuff. They had multiple episodes. But anyways, this episode is about a young woman by the name of Wendy. She's a Korean woman played by Nicole Binderback. And I've briefly talked about her a couple of times. She was in the Clueless movie. She was in Bring It On. She pops in and out of pretty much every show you've seen in the 90s and 2000s and stuff. And she normally plays the best friend role and stuff. And so I can't wait for one day she makes her big break and get her own show, or at least can be like a co-star to a show where she's the main character, because she deserves it. So Wendy, like I said, is a young woman. She works at a deli. Now, a deli, I believe this is set in New York. A deli, it's a grocery store, like a mom and pop grocery store. If it was a Hispanic owned one, it would be called a bodega. A deli in the South, where I live at, is a sandwich shop. So a deli is something completely different in New York. And so, it's her parents' deli and stuff. Her brother always also works there, and we see her drawing fashion. She's an aspiring artist type person who wants to get in the fashion industry, and so she must have dreams or aspiration or something. And in comes a guy while a customer is there, and this guy is grumpy. It is her on again, off again boyfriend, and he is being very, very vulgar with her. Then, next thing you know, she steps outside, and that's when she vanishes. So now the cops are looking for her. Her mom is frantic and worried for her safety. And like the guy who was there who witnessed her arguing with that man, so of course now the on again off again is a prime suspect. And it is quite fascinating. Like this woman Wendy, she had one of the worst weeks of her life. She also has a slight hidden secret to her life. It's quite a shame. See, her mom is well, actually, her parents are very, very, very controlling. They picked her husband for her to marry, and they want her to work in their deli. She had to quit her regular job and stuff, we find out with the guy that she's on and off again. She was at some kind of like fashion show, and she said, she used to be one of those walkway models that used to wear the clothes, but she had to stop and everything. And it's quite a shame you have to give up your dream and to help the family out, but you have to help your family out and stuff. And so like, but his alibi checks, and he did not like kidnap her or do anything to her. So now the question is who. So the cops have to constantly keep investigating. One thing that's interesting is that the security camera is messed up at the deli. So the night of the argument, couldn't capture everything, and also other stuff too. Her brother has a big gash on his forehead. Turns out they was robbed by a couple of gangsters. And FBI agents ask, why didn't you call the police? And they say, because y'all don't ever do nothing whenever we need help and stuff. Meaning that the cops don't never go to that part of town and help out people that look different than them. And so they just never reported it and stuff. Well, the gangsters did not kidnap her because they're currently in jail for trying to rob another store. And so since their alibi checked, now who are they going to go to next? Well, they go to her ex-fiance. And so the mom reveals that her and her daughter had a huge argument. See, her ex-fiance is loaded rich, and their family went all out in this very fancy Japanese-inspired restaurant. And so they had a huge argument in front of everybody, right? And so the mom shouted at her and and told her we picked him out and you're gonna marry him. And so Wendy's all like, no, I'm gonna marry who I love and not who you choose and everything. Which that's what people should do. They should fall in love with who they want to and stuff. But like I said before, her family is very controlling. Her dad's in the wheelchair and her mom has to help do everything, while the brother helps out as well. Well, the fiance has a startling revelation that took the detectives by storm. He's gay. And he said that, he was trying to tell his family at one point, but it's just so hard. Because he says it's hard enough living in America being Asian, but also being a gay man is even harder, especially his family would just not understand. But here's the thing, Wendy knew he was gay and they was gonna pretend kind of to be together so he can beard her, but she didn't want to keep doing that. She wanted to have her own life. And so they plant the whole argument in front of everybody so it can help him come out a little bit easier. So that huge argument they had, that's the reason why they argued in front of everybody, and he did not kidnap her. Then after they went through her internet search history, it turns out she constantly they went through her phone logs, and it showed that she went to this a coffee cafe type place, and there she had a friend, and her friend would help her date online. See, the family never knew she was constantly dating men online. And so now the cops believe one of them kidnapped her. And so they discovered that she had this one dude who was clingy. He would get jealous at everything. And so she wanted to get rid of him. Her friend told her just be straight up, but no, she wanted kind of like deceive him. So what she did is in one night she acted very kinky and she had a knife and she cut him on the chest, pretending like she's into that rough type of foreplay type stuff. He wasn't into it, and he said that, he dumped her. And so, but the cops tell him this is don't make no sense because your profile says you're into the rough stuff. So, what exactly is going on? Well, this memory, this flashback we see was probably false. Why? Because at some point in time, as the cops are searching her place, a man wanders into the back of her window, and it turns out he had a flyer. The flyer had a revealing picture of Wendy talking about, like, all men are welcome, just come in my back window. So they wonder if she had a even secreter life and everything. But it turns out that this was photoshopped, her head on somebody else's body. Somebody was looking for revenge. So they figured it had been somebody close. And so when they went to the computer guy who put this ad on the internet, he told them that a 20-year-old Asian girl came in and gave him a disc, and he put the ad on the internet, but he don't know who she is. And it was not Wendy. The family tells her that all of Wendy's friends are white, so they don't know who it could be. Well, when they was talking to the creepy's online boyfriend, he had an Asian assistant. Turns out she was the woman. See, the clingy boyfriend lied to the police. See, what happened was this. He put that flyer on the internet hoping that it would ruin her life and she would come crawling to him for sympathy, and it worked. But she didn't stay with him. And so his alibi checks out, even though what he did was creepy. So the question is, who could it have been? Well, there turns out to be fingerprints on the back of her window. They find the guy, and the guy reveals to them that, like, he tried to go through the window, it was locked, so he went through the front door, and a man was there, and the man roughed him up. And that man turned out to be the person who kidnapped and killed Wendy, and that man was her own brother. Yes, her brother is the one who did her in. See, what happened was this. Her brother tried to open up two delis in, like, the same city. One went belly up and the other one just couldn't get off the ground. And so he had to work at his family's deli. He was jealous of his sister. He's jealous that, she ruined a chance of a lifetime to get married. She, tried to get out and do the fashion stuff. And it also turns out that she was so sick and tired of working at the deli and being controlled by her parents. She was about to leave that night and go live her life. He didn't want her to leave because he's there stuck. And he's also older than her. And like they're in their 20s. And she's about to go live her life and he can't. So in a heated argument, he picked up so after she slapped him, he picked up a 2x4 and whacked her in the head. And it's there she died. And, I could not believe this when I found this out. It's always sometimes somebody who's close to you, and normally a relative who do things like that. You see it on the news all the time. And it's quite a shame that he would get so jealous that he snapped and murdered his own sister. When they revealed that, that was one of the most touching things ever. You can't help but to get choked up because she was this young, vibrant, fun-loving girl who just wanted to live her life, and they got taken from her way too soon. Happy Asian and Pacific Islander month, everybody. Alrighty, well, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.